Hey folks, I'm Sir Vainglory, back with some more Steel Division Normandy 44. In this battle I want to show you some of the tactics and tips to use to help you win battles. The first tip is to study your map and set a plan and objectives. My first objective is going to be to take this town over on the right. I think that's where the battle will be won or lost. So I want to get some infantry in there and hold that. From there I'm then going to push forward up towards these hangars, and that will be my final defensive position, and there's a good road there to let you move troops quickly left and right to counter different threats. And finally, to move up on the left hand side and take that small group of hangars there, and that allowed me to put pressure onto the German reinforcement points. So it's the same battle as I fought in my last video. As far as I can tell, the forces are exactly the same, the starting forces. So moving forward, what I have is I've got Recce on the extreme flanks either side. We've got two infantry squads and a Stuart moving up into the village, a Greyhound and a Sherman that moving up in towards the centre, and they're going to prevent the Germans from reinforcing from the airfield in towards the town, and there's some infantry there to protect the Sherman. So the primary reinforcements are going to be to bring in mortars. So the squads head up in towards the town. Sherman and the Greyhound are positioned in the centre, covering that large gap. And you can see that the way the front line indicator's moving, that the Germans have got slightly more strength there than I have, but I managed to get into my defensive positions. And the first encounter that we have is at the airfield, an SPW 204 scout car spotted by the Greyhound, and they engage each other. So I'm not too interested in taking that out at the moment, and I decide to pull the Greyhound back just to keep it safe. We've also made contact in the town now, the Germans pushing in from the right, so I've got the M3 and the Stuart are able to put in fire to support the infantry there, and the German infantry is also pushing south through past the town, and they're spotted by my Recce. In the middle, the Recce shows that there's some units moving up through the far side, and the Sherman manages to take out a Kubel wagon with a scout troop in it, scout squad, and also takes out a Panzer 35. The SPW that I wasn't too bothered about manages to take out one of the M3s in the town, which is not ideal. And we've also got a strong infantry beginning to push in towards the town from the north and from the far right, along with some light armoured units coming down the main road. But we're able to hold our position, and the Stuart moves up to support the infantry in dealing with this German squad that's pushing in. They manage to get into that building, but they can't move any further forward because of the rate of fire. I'm also deciding to move the Greyhound over towards the town, just in case any of the light armour from the airfield just does manage to push in, and also to add a bit more machine gun support there. I lose my Recce squad, it surrenders to the German infantry down at the right hand side, but that's not too big a deal. I know pretty much what is down in that sort of vicinity anyway. So I'm pushing back the infantry on the right hand side there, and the first of my reinforcements are on the way. There's a mortar M21 and another infantry squad coming in there. So you can see that they're able to sort of push back the frontline indicators, so there's not too much in strength down there. I've moved the Sherman over to the sort of vicinity that the Greyhound was in before, just to cover off that approach from the centre towards the town, and it gets into position there and it engages the Panzer 35 and the SPW 204, and it manages to force both of them to retreat. So that takes away the risk of them reinforcing the units in the town. Amazingly inaccurate machine gun fire there from the Sherman, but it does the job. My infantry squad reinforcing the town here, it encounters a German infantry squad in the orchard, and there's a brief engagement, but it moves up to provide support along this road here, where we've managed to push back one of the German squads and the other one's being suppressed in a building. Again, good combined fire by a couple of half tracks and the infantry. And the mortar it engages the infantry squad in the orchard, and it manages to force that to surrender. The mortar then turns in towards the centre and engages this German infantry squad that's moving up towards the Sherman, as the Sherman pushes up, going after the SPW 204. Panzerjägers have been brought up in the centre of the main road, and it engages the Greyhound that had moved over into the town. Over on the right, we're able to suppress the German infantry with the M3 while my own squad moves up to wipe them out. Back at the airfield, a second mortar that I've brought in engages the German infantry just in time as it reaches the Sherman, and it's forced to fall back. In the town in the main road, you can see here I've got an infantry squad forward defending that building, with Stuart slightly behind providing support and fire, and behind that again we've got the mortar which is providing suppressing fire, and that combined weight of fire forces the German infantry to retreat, so they're running for their lives. And similarly on the right we've got combined fire. I retasked the mortar to support this infantry squad in M3 that's dealing with infantry in the orchard here. And again in the centre, the infantry is falling back, but the light armour's recovered, and there's a Pack 38 and more light armour moving up. The Sherman takes out one of the scout car, and with the support of the mortar it's able to keep the infantry pinned back. So things are going okay just now. We're holding well at the town, and we're being able to push the Germans back out into the margins of it. They're not able to make any real progress towards us. And at the airfield they decide to take a bit of a risk and move the mortar out to get into range to fire on the anti-tank guns. It's under threat from a Panzer 35 over by the hangars, but I've got the Sherman and I've brought up another Stuart, and I reckon that they're both going to be able to put enough pressure on the Panzer to protect the mortar. And between their combined fire they do manage to force it to fall back. So things are going well over on the left hand side as well. And in the town we're beginning to push out from the town itself, so we've almost completed the objective 1. But it's important that you keep pressure on the units that are falling back. Don't give them the chance to rally, so you've got to keep pushing, keep the momentum going there, because there will be more reinforcements obviously pouring up towards that fight. A second Panzerjäger appears on the main road, and the Stuart has moved back out to the main road itself, and it manages to take out one of the Panzerjägers straight away. Unfortunately the second Panzerjäger takes out my mortar before the Stuart manages to take it out in turn. So with that we've pretty much now secured the town. There is still some German infantry in the outskirts, but it's fallen back. And move up another infantry squad in there to support, and the German infantry that is in the vicinity quite quickly is suppressed and forced to fall back whenever it tries to push forward. So there's an old-fashioned artillery duel happening in the centre at the airfield, and I've pushed this Stuart up to keep pressure on the Panzer 35, try and stop it from recovering. And the first reinforcements on the left hand side are now getting into the fight. I've got an M3 with an infantry squad there and a 50 cal jeep, so they're forcing that infantry squad that's been there since the start of the battle. They're beginning to force that back now towards the airfield itself. Back in the town, well, this is still at the airfield, the infantry moving up. I do like the 50 cal, it gives you a good range, good weight of fire to add, as long as you're not exposing it to any light armour or anything like that. It does a good job. Back in the town, we've got an M3 and its squad here pushing up, and it encounters another German squad moving through the orchard. Again, the German squad's morale was pretty low, and they're quite quickly suppressed and forced to retreat again. So at the airfield, we're pushing up on the very extreme left, but I'm a bit concerned about the number of anti-tank guns and artillery pieces there, so I begin to pull the Sherman and the mortar back. But as you can see, we're now pushed out from the town and we're pushing up towards the second objective already. So things are going really well there. I just hope we can make the same sort of progress on the left hand side.
Careful. Enemies nearby.
There's another Panzerjäger appears here in the road heading down towards our second objective, and engages an M3 and manages to destroy it. The M3 had been sitting there with just an infantry squad, so there was no anti-tank support available to it. And as a result of that, we've now got two MG42s on our flank here that are causing us a bit of a problem. All I've got in the vicinity is half a squad. So I move over the Stuart towards that flank to provide some support before the infantry's overrun. And the Stuart moves up along this tree line and it engages the Panzerjäger, and it manages to destroy it, and then move out to start trying to deal with the MG42s. At the airfield, I want to push the Sherman forward, so I begin to lay down smoke from the mortar just to mask the advance from that cluster of anti-tank guns that are up there. You can see there's more German reinforcements are moving up. On the right hand side there's another Panzerjäger arrived, and that engages the Greyhound that I've got over there.
Target neutralized.
You can see there's some jeeps probably with anti-tank guns or some sort of field artillery moving up on the railway track on the right hand side. But I'm still not too worried. We have reached the outskirts of Objective 2, and back at the airfield I'm pushing infantry forward towards one of the first of the hangars there. So they're on the heels of the German infantry squad that's been pushed back, but the squad has recovered and it returns fire on my infantry, and they've got the support of the Panzer 35 as well. I've got the M3 in the vicinity there, so I'll move that up to provide support to the infantry. So it engages the squad and the bushes there, but it's also exposed to the Panzer, so it pulls back just to be safe. Back on the right hand side, Stuart is engaging MG42 in the hangar up there. There's another one here in the tree line that's engaging the infantry in the building. So the Stuart moves up and takes that MG42 out. And then it re-engages the MG42 in the hangar, and with a combined weight of fire from the Greyhound and the Stuart, it forces that to draw back. The German infantry squad at the airfield begins, or my squad begins pushing towards the town. But the Sherman engages that and forces it back. I've got an infantry squad further up that has engaged Pack 40 by the hangars, and it manages to suppress it, and then it moves up and forces it to surrender. So at this point it looks like some of the forces are about to be cut off. You can see like a pincer movement behind my main advance, but I know that in the left hand side it's really that fallen back infantry squad that's causing that on one side, and the other side I'm pretty sure it's a weak infantry squad that's there, so I'm not too bothered about it. So the combined fire from the Sherman and from the mortar is able to, and an M21 I've brought in, it's able to keep the anti-tank or the artillery pieces in the middle ineffective, suppressing them and forcing them back. And you can see that there's now a much larger gap along that main road, so my forces are pretty much secure. Belatedly pushing forward the infantry that was at the south of the airfield since the start of the battle, and I've got more reinforcements on the way as well. So we've now reached objective 2. You can see that the road does give good access to deal with different threats. And we're beginning to knock out the artillery and the light armour in the centre of the airfield. On the right hand side, my Stuart takes out an infantry squad in the forest there, but you can see there's still some units in the back and behind my front line. But with this half track moving up, the way it's pushing back the front line indicator, again I think that is a pretty small amount of Germans that's there. It turns out to be an IG-18 and a depleted squad. So IG-18 breaks the tracks on my Stuart, the Stuart takes out the infantry, but then the IG-18 takes out my Stuart. Unfortunately, that had been doing pretty well, that tank. So the M21 here, that continues lobbing shells onto the distant German guns, and it's pretty effective at keeping those guns out of the fight. They're not able to take time to target, and they are being worn down. My infantry is advancing well up through the airfield there, and I've brought in another M8 Greyhound on that flank to support them as they push up. So there's not very much over there now, and most of what the Germans have is falling back and low morale. So my reinforcements are moving up on the right hand side. I've got an M3 there that watches an infantry squad and the IG-18 pulling back, and then IG-18 stops to engage the half track, so it takes out the gun, and then it turns its attention back onto the retreating Germans. So we've now moved up through quite a bit of the airfield, and there's very little left, as you can see. A couple of guns and the remnants of a squad. The M21 continues to lob shells up to suppress the guns. So I've got M21 and M3, a Greyhound and a Sherman all lobbing shells into that area. You can see here that there are more German reinforcements pushing up on the right hand side as the M3 deals with the squad that was in the forest there. And the 50 cal Jeep that's at the airfield pushes up to take on the German squad that was supporting the anti-tank guns. So everything is in pretty much full flight now. You can see I've got good visibility, that wide open space there, and there is hardly anything to oppose us. The only problem being that what is there has got pretty long range. But we are moving forward along a wide arc there. And over on the right we've reached objective 2. We've got good field of view into the German reinforcement area. We can see that again we've got a platoon of infantry moving up in trucks there. But the German infantry that does come out appears in the open, and we're able to engage it quite quickly, quite successfully. And on the left, again, everything is being pushed back. You can see here the Germans pushing in towards the hangars, out in the open fields. A couple of M3s there able to take them out. But this Panzer III has engaged the Stuart, and my tanks are out of range. But I do have a P-47 Thunderbolt, call that in, and it doesn't manage to destroy the tank, but it does force it to fall back. So the German infantry moves forward again on the right hand side, but again it's immediately pinned down by the machine gun fire from the half tracks. Forced to fall back straight away, its morale is so low. There's another squad moving up along the bush line there at the railway tracks, but that's taken out as well by M3 and the infantry. I've pretty much now got a general advance going on at the airfield, and this is my biggest mistake in the battle, as the Pack 40 engages one of my Shermans and takes it out. I should have had the Shermans just hold back and let the infantry push forward and let the tanks support them, but I was too busy concentrating on other things. But on the right hand side again, reinforcements are continuing to arrive, but they're continuing to be caught in the open by the machine gun fire. There's just no way that they can advance. So just 2 half tracks are able to hold back all that infantry, and I'm also moving up another 50 cal jeep. And at the airfield you can see the anti-tank gun and the infantry squad there are just being pushed back again by 50 cal fire, Greyhound infantry fire and artillery. So good use of combined fire there, combined arms. On the right hand side, 50 cal jeep moves up into position. The Germans have brought up a couple of infantry Geschütz 18s. They're very effective field artillery weapons, also good against tanks, and they're able to disable my second Sherman, which is a problem because we've got these 2 IG-18s and a Pack 40 all targeting it now, and it's unable to move and also out of ammo. But things are still under control on the right hand side. As soon as any German infantry appears, it's suppressed and forced to fall back. But the fire still continuing to pour in on that poor Sherman that's sitting there. But at least it keeps them focused on it rather than anything else. Again, over on the right, this unsupported infantry has just got no chance of advancing against that amount of machine gun fire. Even when they've got some sort of form of cover, as soon as they're spotted, the amount of bullets that come towards them, they can't move, and they're either knocked out or they're totally suppressed. On the left, we're now pushing on our third objective. There's nothing defending it, there's just the anti-tank gun falling back through it. At this point, a Ju-87 Stuka flies in, but it's forced to retreat before it can attack. The Sherman must have taken dozens of hits by this point, but it is eventually destroyed. So on the right, the Germans they keep trying to push me back just with sheer weight and numbers, and they do begin to make a bit of headway in the centre, moving towards the hangars here. And they've got some support from an anti-tank gun, Pack 40, that's sitting towards the rear. So they do manage to push in a bit towards the hangars, but on the left we've now reached the third objective, and we're pushing back the infantry that's the nearest threat to us there. But there is a Panzer III that's still active, and that's causing us a bit of a threat. So the infantry here moves up. This is us taking the third objective point. And the Germans that were pushing in towards the hangars, they're eventually stopped by combined fire from, again, an M3 and from the infantry in the hangar itself. And I'm moving a Greyhound over to provide some extra support there to drive them back, but it gets distracted when another Stuka flies in and stops to have a bit shoot at that. And that Stuka's driven off as well before it can attack. On the left, the 50 cal jeeps moved up and it's suppressing the infantry ahead of objective 3, but then the Panzer III takes it out. Still not too concerned about that though. There's even more infantry being lobbed in against me on the right hand side, but again, as soon as it's in range it's engaged and it's suppressed. Machine guns are just gobbling it up over there. this Panzer III is a threat, so we're bringing the Thunderbolt in against it again, and this time it manages to take it out. And over on the right hand side, the latest load of reinforcements thrown in, just face exactly the same result as all the rest. Again, trapped on the tree line there. Just pinned and eventually obliterated. And then at the centre we're able to push back the infantry that had approached the hangars. And I've brought up another Sherman to support in there. And that Sherman, that finally decides the outcome of that particular battle. You can see now that we're well on our way to victory. Now pretty much certain of the win. Anything that the Germans bring in we can spot and engage almost as soon as they appear on the map.
Nice shooting, Gunner. I want to go home.
There's a third Stuka brought in. But again, the sheer weight of fire from all the machine guns in that area just drive it back. So the area power has been totally ineffectual. But it's around about now that I realise my biggest weakness has kicked in once again. When things get hectic, I always forget to spend my reinforcement points. So I've got something like 500 points sitting unspent, and I decide to spend them on a couple of P-38s and another P-47. By the time any infantry or armour moved up, the battle would be over, so I think it's better to go for some fast units that can have an immediate impact. And P-38 and P-47 come in together here, and P-38 goes for the SPG, self-propelled gun, manages to force that to fall back, and the Thunderbolt goes for the Pak-40 and it manages to destroy it. And just to be completely over the top on the right hand side, this infantry that's been subjected to a hail of machine gun fire is rocketed by the P-38. And with that, that's pretty much the end of the battle. There's really nothing left to oppose an advance. I think there's an IG-18 and a tank that's coming in, but everything else is being forced back. There is one last Stuka attack to come. So this is the fourth one, and once again, weight of fire turns it back before it can get its attack in. And that was the end of the battle. So again, there were some mistakes made there, particularly my poor management of the two Shermans. That probably cost me a major victory. If I had just had them hang back a bit and support rather than pushing forward, they would have been safe. But I was keen to try and knock out that Panzer III that was there. But apart from that, I think you could see there was good use of supporting fire, supporting arms, infantry supporting tanks, tanks and artillery supporting infantry, etc. So overall, I was happy with the outcome. The battle did go to plan in terms of the objectives that I'd set myself. And you can see from the kills, the early half-track and Stuart that I brought in, those early units did do really well. They were very effective in taking out the initial German assault. So having been able to break the back of the assault round about that town and then just continually push them back to the point where they were left in the open, there was no cover, and my machine guns were just able to decide the outcome of the battle for me on the right hand side. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please comment and rate the video. I'd love to receive your feedback, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this sort of thing. It takes a long time. It's taken almost a week to do this video, only having an hour and a half or 2 hours a day to be able to do this, but I do enjoy it, so I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.